Hello, everybody. Welcome. I'm so happy to be here today. Um, let's see, who do we have here? We have P. Barrow. That's how awesome is it that you are willing to come and check out my streams? I'm so grateful. I really hope that you're getting something out of my streams. I'm trying my best to teach what I feel is the most important thing in the world, and that's ways to find peace when people are anxious and fearful. And I feel like if that's my life's work, then I'm doing a great service to the people in the world. And I'm just so happy that you're able to make it. And JT Farms. It's such a pleasure to have you here as well. You've been wonderful to me throughout the years. You're incredible. You know, I've mentioned this before. JT Farms is an incredible poet. So and she's taught me many things about the art of poetry, and I'm eternally grateful for that. You know, she's such a wonderful person. We have a very strong connection, and I'm just really happy and excited that she's been willing to come out and support me on pretty much a daily basis. You know, I mean, not many people can come out and really help another human being, and I think she's getting something out of it too. JT Farms, you're enjoying the meditations, right? You're getting some good vibes from them, right? And oh, P. Barrow, yeah, it says you are. Oh yes, you're getting some good vibes from it as well. So that's wonderful. All right. Wow, I'm truly honored to be here today, for sure. Beautiful, for sure. Okay, so today we're going to do something a little bit different. Now, typically, I discuss a little bit of philosophy at the beginning, and then we hop right into a guided meditation, and then I try to bring the philosophical concepts that I discussed at the beginning of prior to the meditation into the meditation, such that we can get the most benefit, because the philosophical concepts that I bring in at the beginning are very analytical and left brain. But in meditation, we expand our right brain, and we are our right side of our brain, and we're more creative, and we can see things in different patterns. So I try to hit it the left brain and the right brain, and that's when I try to communicate the philosophy that I feel is important in maintaining balance and love and peace in your lives. Oh, Roko Hemda's here. Wow, wonderful, excellent. Well, that's really good, man. I'm really grateful that you're able to make it. Yeah, it just really makes me happy that you're here, man. You know, thank you. You've been another one who's been here from the beginning. You know, we have a really good crew of people here, and it's just it's a blessing, like I said earlier, to have everyone here. And it's just a really good crew of people. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about Immanuel Kant. How many of you have heard of Kant? Have any of you heard of him? And it's spelled Kant, not Kant like the contraction, but Immanuel Kant. And if no one has, that's no big problem. No worries at all. That's why I'm here. I'm here as a teacher to explain the philosophy of Immanuel Kant, such that in my future meditations, you'll be able to understand the terminology that I use better, and you'll be able to understand the concepts, therefore, better as well. Okay, so Immanuel Kant was a German philosopher in the mid to late 1700s. And he initially was a school teacher, and there was another philosopher by the name of David Hume. Some of you might be familiar with. And David Hume wrote a bunch of stuff, and he was, a brilliant philosopher at the time. And Kant was reading some of Hume's work, and he said, famously was quoted as saying, "Hume woke me from my dogmatic slumber." So basically, the idea was Kant was Christian in origin, and he believed the Christian ideals and whatnot, and he was just kind of going along life in autopilot. But then David Hume came along and published some work, and it just kind of riled him up. Sometimes, like, in order for us to be creative, we need to be riled up. That's just the way it is. Joy, JT Farms, I'm sure you get that, right? Because you're a poet, right? When you're like in a very like blah, nothing state, you're not probably writing good poetry, right? Because you're just kind of like, well, whatever, I feel okay. But when you have like, major, trauma you're dealing with, when you're going through a lot of stuff, that's when the emotions are strong, when your inner fire is burning, that's when you write the best poetry, right? And that's how it was with Kant too. And I believe this is true with any creative endeavor. Any creative endeavor. The people who are just kind of like going along in life, working their standard job, not really doing anything creative, they're not inspired to write. They're not inspired to paint. They're not inspired to do all these amazing things. But the people that go through a lot of struggle and that go through a lot of pain, and they're the ones that are inspired to do great things. All right. So, anyways. So Hume writes this treatise, and then Kant reads it and is like, "Holy fucking shit! I now have a reason to live. I have a purpose. I am like on fire, basically." So Kant basically just became on fire and decided that Hume was totally wrong in what he wrote, and yet everyone was just like buying into it. Everyone in the Western philosophical world was like, "Oh yeah, Hume, he's brilliant. He must be right." And then this relatively no-name guy, Immanuel Kant, comes along and just writes the Critique of Pure Reason, Critique of Practical Judgment, and a bunch of other writings. But primarily his Critique of Pure Reason was just completely went after Hume and completely showed a different way of viewing reality, of viewing the fundamental nature of reality. And this was all Immanuel Kant, right? It's really neat, to think that he could have had such an impact. He was a school teacher, wasn't doing much, and then all of a sudden he had that fire lit within him, and he was able to write the critique of Pure Reason, and it changed everything. It changed the way that everyone throughout the history of Western civilization after that, throughout the history of Western philosophy, viewed philosophy. So yeah, he was an incredible man, right? Anyways, one of the major distinctions that he made in the Critique of Pure Reason was the distinction between the phenomenal world and the noumenal world. Okay, so now it's really important to grasp the distinction here, because I use these terms a lot in my meditations. And if you understand what they mean, you're going to get way more out of the meditations. All right? So Kant's notion of the phenomenal world is the world that we see out, when we walk around outside, right? We go outside, we turn on the news, we interact with the people around us. That's the phenomenal world in Kant's metaphysics. And the phenomenal world is pretty interesting in that it is based solely on sensory perception. Okay, now what does that mean? I want to try to keep this a little bit simpler so everyone can have a firm grasp on this. So sensory perception is basically any information, any data that's coming in to your being through the five senses. You smell something, you taste something, you touch something, right? And there's input coming in, and then you can process that information, and you can have a response, right? Like, you touch something that's hard or sharp, and you pull back your hand. And then you say, "Oh, that was sharp." Well, that's because the information that was sent into your hand was relayed the information. "Oh, hey, this is sharp," and that's how it was processed and interpreted, right? Okay, so that's one thing. That's one interesting thing to think about. Another thing is that not just how we feel, but how we perceive is determined by the phenomenal world, because we have all our sensory input coming in, and it's being filtered through our five senses. And then what we're doing after we filter in all that information, we're taking what's left of that information, the stuff that has not been filtered out, and we're taking that little bit of information that we actually were able to ascertain from the greater picture, from the world around us, and we are projecting outward this reality. Our entire reality is nothing more than a projection from within. The phenomenal world, that is, right? Not the noumenal world, and we'll get into that in a second, but the phenomenal world is simply a projection from inside to the outside. So what that means is, whenever we see the world, we're seeing it through a particular colored lens, right? That lens is obstructing a lot of information, and that lens is equivalent to the five senses, right? It's blocking out a lot of light, right? But then the light that is able to enter is taken and processed by the brain, by our prefrontal cortex, and then we project upon the world what the world should look like according to that little bit of information we have. Now that's really interesting, right? Because what that entails is that the world we see is not as it actually is. Now, some of you might be thinking, well, wait a minute, we had The Matrix, we had all these other shows, right? We had things to articulate the same point. But remember, we're talking about the 1750s through the early 1800s. That's when Kant was doing his work. So, I mean, this was huge. This was revolutionary to think that the world that we see when we walk outside and, look at the sun and look at the trees and look at the buildings and talk to people is not actually how the world is objectively. I mean, that blew everyone's mind. People were like, holy shit, that's incredible. Wow, that everything's totally different now, but when I say everyone, I'm talking about philosophers, because, the way things typically work is a philosophical idea comes forth and then is incorporated by other philosophers, and then it takes a long time for it to disseminate throughout the rest of the population, because not everyone's a philosopher, basically, at the end of the day. All right, so anyways, Kant had this understanding that the world we see is not how it actually is. That's the phenomenal world. Now, he contrasted that with the noumenal world. The noumenal world is the world as things actually are. So if our senses were not blocking out 99.999999% of the input that was coming in, if we were actually seeing things as they actually were with 100% of the data and 100% of the processing power, then we would be seeing the noumenal world. And that's basically the objective world. That's how the world actually is. So if we were seeing that, if we were able to actually see the noumenal world, then we wouldn't have many of the issues that we have. We would just be going along and enjoying our lives, and we wouldn't have these issues, right? Okay, so another interesting point that he said about the noumenal world is that, unfortunately, we have no possible way of accessing it. We cannot access the noumenal world. And that's so important. It's so interesting, because the reason we can't access it is because the information that we're taking in the phenomenal world is so limiting, and such that we only have a very tiny amount of that information in which we project upon the world and see and construct our reality, all right, that we can never actually cross over into the noumenal world, in which things just actually are, because we're wearing glasses that are blocking out too much of the actual information out there. So, okay, by the way, he called the noumenal world seeing things as things in themselves, basically seeing things as they actually are, as opposed to seeing things as, we project them through the phenomenal senses, right? Okay, so he drew this distinction, and it completely created a paradigm shift. This was at the end of the Enlightenment period, and it created a complete paradigm shift in which people started viewing the world totally differently. People, and it just completely changed Western philosophy forever. Okay, so Does anyone have any questions about that so far? I know I kind of went off on a really long diatribe about all that, but it's so important to my philosophy and the way I articulate the words I do in my philosophy that I just want to make sure everyone actually, is able to comprehend, what I said, and actually has at least somewhat of an understanding, or maybe a better understanding. And if not, no. If I was clear, I'll take that. If I was perfectly clear, then that's great too, because that's my role as a teacher. A meditation teacher, a yoga teacher, a philosophy teacher. I'm also a chess instructor for those of you who don't know. So like as a teacher, yeah, I want to be as perfectly clear as possible. So that's something that I do. All right. Okay. Anyways, I think that's about it with Kant and philosophy. So let's do a guided meditation, because that's what we do. We do a little bit of philosophy and we do a guided meditation. And again, I am so grateful that you all came here, and it really means a lot. If you haven't clicked follow, please click follow here and support the channel. I'm Agni James again, and yeah, I really care about all of you, and I'm just eternally grateful that you all were willing to just come on in and just enjoy this philosophical discourse. It means a lot to me, basically. Okay, so now it's time for the meditation. So you'll want to get in a nice, comfortable seated position. You can sit in lotus pose on the floor. You can sit in a chair if that feels better on your back. The main point is that you want to be sitting somewhere where you feel comfortable. And just close your eyes, and then just kind of do a body scan as your eyes are closed. Just kind of scan from the top of your head all the way down to your feet and toes, and just kind of scan and see where you're holding your areas of tension for today and where they can possibly be released. All right, this is going to be important, because one of the main goals of meditation is relaxation. We want to be able to be peaceful and calm, not just in the meditation, but also in the external world. So close your eyes, sit in a nice, comfortable seated position. I have a Buddhist chant track that I play, and it has a chime that goes off every 2 seconds. So that can help you regulate your breath count, and this is super important. Now remember, I'm going to work back in Kant's philosophy into this meditation. At least that's my goal. So we'll see if I can accomplish that, and if so, if I can teach it to the best of my ability. I'm basically going to try to allow all of the beauty and love from the source of creation to run through me and to communicate those ideas with you. Thank you so much again for being here. So close your eyes and take another body scan from the top of your head to your feet, noticing where you're holding any areas of tension. Gently breathe in through your nose, raising your belly, filling yourself with love and light, and gently exhale through the mouth, lowering your belly, releasing all stress and anxiety. Breathe in through your nose, raising your abdomen, filling this vessel with perfection, and exhale through the mouth, lowering your belly, releasing all the pain, worry, and frustration of the phenomenal world. Breathe in through your nose, gently raising your belly, seeing nothing but love and light, and exhale through the mouth, returning to a state of perfect oneness. Stay true to your breath count throughout the remainder of the practice and become one with your breath. The way it works in beginner meditation is that we clear our minds, and then thoughts immediately re-enter our belief set, and they start causing commotion in our head while we're trying to meditate. So then we release those thoughts again, we return to the state of oneness, and then chatter begins again in our heads. And we have to cleanse our minds by letting all that chatter go. And we continually repeat this process throughout the remainder of the meditation. Whenever a thought enters your mind that is not about your breath, you release it, and you return to focusing solely on your breath count. By doing so, by this process of releasing any thoughts that enter your mind repeatedly over and over, eventually you'll be able to clear your mind for longer periods of time in which you'll be able to find peace, comfort, love, and joy, and reconnect with the eternal source of all creation. Scan your body again from the top all the way to the bottom, searching for areas of tightness and tension, and release it from your being. Gently breathe in through your nose, raising your belly, filling this vessel with love and light. And gently exhale through your mouth, lowering your belly, breathing out all that does not serve you. As distracting thoughts enter your mind, gently release them and return to your breath. Breathe in through your nose. 6, 8. And exhale through your mouth. 4, 6, 8. Inhale through your nose. 4, 6, 8. And exhale through your mouth. 4, 6, 8. When distracting thoughts enter your mind, gently release them and return to the healing power of your breath. Immanuel Kant convincingly demonstrated that the phenomenal world is not an accurate representation of objective reality. He also showed that the noumenal world is the source of creation, It's the place where things are objectively, but we have no access to it through external means. Most people spend their life looking for answers, looking for joy, looking for happiness in the external world. And in the end, they come up empty. The reason for this is that true peace is found within, and nothing in the phenomenal world is true. The way to find true peace, love, and joy is to go within, and meditation is a major vehicle to bring us within and see our authentic selves. Once we connect to the divine within, we realize the insignificance of the phenomenal world, and we return to the state of perfect oneness. That is our inheritance. That state is where we should be. And if enough of us can enter that state and reside there, then all of phenomenal consciousness will disappear. We will be reunited with perfect oneness with all of creation. And we will feel nothing but love, light, and joy for all human beings. The reason for this is that all human beings are one mind, one being. It wouldn't make any sense to attack oneself. Therefore, it wouldn't make any sense to attack another. Because we are the same. Once we identify with one mind, with one being, with the source of creation, the phenomenal world ceases to exist. You are a child of love and light, and you are worthy of everything, including perfect peace, love, and joy. You are what makes God smile. And God in this sense can be the universal energy, it can be whatever God you believe in. But you make God smile. That is your purpose, to be one with God's love. So breathe in through your nose, 4, 6, 8, and exhale through your mouth, 4, 6, 8. Breathe in the deepest breath of the day, 6, 8, and exhale, 4, 6, 8. You are an extension of God's will, pure love and light extending outward to infinity. I'm so grateful and honored to be here with you, to share this space with such divine beings. I am truly humbled and grateful to be your meditation teacher today. When distracting thoughts enter your mind, gently release them and return to your breath. You are perfection. You are one with pure light. You bring love and light into this world. And one day, through your work, along with all other humans, this phenomenal world will disappear, and we'll be left with the true noumenal world, and we will be there, residing together. So gently breathe in, taking the deepest breath of the day, filling your vessel with love and light. And exhale, releasing all that is unhealthy and does not serve you. Gently open your eyes and return to the present moment, bringing with you the peace from this meditation throughout the remainder of the day. Namaste. I am Agni James, and I am grateful to be your meditation instructor. How was that, everyone? Did you find some peace and joy in that meditation? Let me know what you think, because if there's any way I can improve, I want to, because I want to be the best meditation instructor possible. JT Farms, brilliant session. Well, thank you so much, JT Farms, for tuning in and commenting. It means a lot. Feedback is so important for me. I really want feedback. Even if I suck, give me feedback, because I want to improve. I really want to be the best meditation instructor for all of you, because you're all such wonderful people. And I'm just so honored to be here with all of you. Thank you so much for your time, your love and energy. I'm trying to grow this channel. I'd love to teach guided meditation and philosophy every week, or actually every day, maybe for the rest of my life. I just need to grow this channel. I need followers and I need subscriptions. So if you haven't followed already, please consider following. It costs you nothing, but it does support the channel. So thank you again so much for everything. You're all beautiful. You're all children of love and light, and I am eternally grateful for all of your wonderful participation. Okay, I think that's about it. Unless anyone did not understand the distinction between the phenomenal and noumenal worlds that I discussed earlier, I could go over it briefly again, or if there's anything else philosophically you want to discuss, I have a master's in philosophy. This is my thing. I love philosophy. I love analytic philosophy. That's what I studied. And I also love philosophy of science and philosophy of mind and metaphysics. Those are my main areas that I love, and I love teaching those things, and I'd love to continue teaching those things, and I'm going to. And then also we're going to continue to do meditations, because it's so important to be in touch with your internal self. So let's raid someone. Please click follow if you haven't, and subscribe if you really want to support everything. Let's see who's available to raid today. Let's see, we have, look at this. Let's see, Mixed Pose, Great Kind. Those two are reruns. I don't want to raid those. I guess we are going to raid, let's raid Mixed Pose. Let's raid Mike Fit. I haven't rated Mike Fit recently, so we'll raid Mike Fit. And God bless everyone. Thank you so much. Start the raid right here. He's a cool guy. Him and his wife's a professional boxer, and she's really, really good. And then he's just in phenomenal shape. So give them some support. Well, let's raid them.
Raid. And I was like, it was perfect. Hey! Evolve yourself, welcome through!
Hey, Evolve!
Evolve yourself, thanks for being in the community. You are coming with us.
No, it's my Mother's Day, and I can make the wish that I want. That's why it's a wish. Tell your mama happy Mother's Day.
Good to see you. We're sorry.
How you doing?
David Offbeat, good to see you, man.
David
Rishad.
Offbeat, welcome.
See you later, Mike. Gotta take a nap, Rishad. I'm
After
gonna
that
go chill
pizza?
as well. But
Good.
follow yourself. You're coming on. You're coming onto the raid wave with us. We're